greater threat to the whalers. They're subsidised by the Japanese government, but they've only killed about a fifth of their quota. Having ended the season early, they reportedly stand to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. Veronica Pedrosa, AlJazeera.
Still to come on the programme, all the sports news. We're in Dhaka with the serious action about to begin in the Cricket World Cup. Details coming up next.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. On AlJazeera.
Information travels in many ways. Opinions constantly formed. Knowledge passes in an instant.
If you want to communicate with those shaping the headlines, this is your chance to ask questions directly to the people making the news. Riz Khan, at this time on AlJazeera.
China has a growing elderly population, and as a consequence of its one-child system, there are fewer younger people to take care of them. It's a responsibility that often falls to the state. Private retirement homes offer an alternative, but independence comes at a price, financially and emotionally. Faces of China, at this time on AlJazeera.
Time for all the sports news. Here's Stuart.
Yes, thanks. And the continuing violence in Bahrain has once again raised concerns that the first Formula One Grand Prix of the new season, the Bahrain Grand Prix, due to be held on March the 13th, could be called off. The latest from Bernie Ecclestone, the man who runs Formula One, is that he's hopeful the race will go ahead. But since his statement, there's been another escalation in the violence. Ecclestone set a deadline of Wednesday. If the situation doesn't improve by then the race will be called off. This weekend's GP2 race has already been called off. The Formula One teams are currently testing in Barcelona. Now, after 14 warm-up matches and one spectacular opening ceremony, it's time for the serious action to start in the Cricket World Cup. Bangladesh host India in the opening match, kicking off 6 weeks of action in 3 countries, featuring 14 different teams. But even as the excitement amongst the home fans reaches fever pitch, the future of the 50-over format they'll be watching remains uncertain. Andy Richardson reports from Bangladesh.
Bangladesh cricket supporters seem to be enjoying their first World Cup experience. The event's rambling 3-country format has been criticised, but it's given these fans and their team a co-hosting chance they might otherwise not have had. Bangladesh have the advantage of playing all their group matches at home, starting with Saturday's opener against India.
I think all the teammates will be very happy to know that the crowd behind us, and that they will be, the whole crowd will be cheering for us. So I think it's a very good sign for our cricket.
The bigger picture surrounding the preparations for this opening game is the future of the 50-over game itself. This is the first World Cup since the emergence of 2020 and the seemingly all-powerful Indian Premier League. The success or otherwise of this competition will give us all a much clearer idea as to whether 3 different versions of the game really can coexist.
It is certainly the flagship of 50-over cricket. With the backdrop that you point around 2020 cricket, it just gives it that more importance in that we want to ensure that all 3 formats survive.
But while the next World T20 event will be expanded, the ICC have said the 2015 World Cup could well feature just 10 countries. The players, though, aren't ready to deliver the 50-over game's last rites just yet.
I think it's an ideal mix of both Test cricket and T20 format. And what has happened right now is it's getting more and more interesting with most of the teams looking to score close to 300 odd runs, which more often than not nowadays is not considered a very safe score.
This event then not quite on its last legs, but definitely in need of the sort of kick-start this opening match could provide. Andy Richardson, AlJazeera, Dhaka.
Now here's a flavour of the kind of atmosphere we can expect in Bangladesh. This was a warm-up match between England and Pakistan. Despite that, still a great crowd at the Khan Shahid Osman Ali Stadium in Fatullah. England batted first and were all out for 273. In reply, Yunus Khan hit 80 for Pakistan, but they never got close as they were bowled out for 206. England won the match by 67 runs, and Paul Collingwood's 65 was a welcome return to form for the England batsman.
As you said, it was nice to, on a personal note, to get some runs. It's been quite a frustrating few months for us, not being able to contribute as much as I would have liked. And even though it was a warm-up game tonight, I thought it was important that I spent some time out the middle and try to get that confidence going again. And thankfully, it worked out well.
But there are problems in India, where the venue for the final has failed a safety inspection. The Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai has not been cleared by the City Fire Department because it doesn't have enough entrances and firefighting equipment. The stadium is also scheduled to host 2 group matches before the final on the 2nd of April. Caroline Wozniacki is back on the top of women's tennis after reaching the semi-final of the Dubai Tennis Championships. The Dane, seen here on Thursday, has regained her #1 ranking that she briefly lost to the Australian Open champion Kim Clijsters, who isn't playing in Dubai. Wozniacki faces Jelena Jankovic in the last 4. Now, Rugby Union's old Super 14s is now the Super 15s after the addition of the Melbourne Rebels to the Southern Hemisphere's biggest club competition. But the new team have recruited the likes of former England fly half Danny Cipriani are off to the worst possible start in the expanded competition. Melbourne thrashed in front of their own fans by their state rivals, the New South Wales Waratahs, who turned on the style, running in 7 tries, including 2 from Drew Mitchell. The final score a whopping 43 points to 0. Football, and Ryan Giggs has signed an extension to his current contract with Manchester United. The new deal runs until the end of next season. The 37-year-old is the most decorated player in English football, having won 11 league titles, 4 FA Cups and 2 Champions League titles. And speaking of records, if Real Madrid win or draw with Levante in their Spanish league match, coach Jose Mourinho will have gone 9 years without a home league defeat. 147 matches at 4 different clubs: Porto, Chelsea, Inter and Real Madrid. Mind you, Mourinho's playing it down because with 100 days left in the Spanish season, his side are trailing leaders Barcelona by 5 points.
I consider tomorrow's match to be the most important of my career, but only because it's the next one. And I consider the next 100 days to be as important as the last 100 days of every season I've been a coach. That's 11 years, because the last 100 days are where you win or lose everything.
And that's all the sport. Back to you.
That's Stuart with the sports news. Now, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you an update on what's happening around the